Hi, this is Chatterboxing. I'm Sean, and I'm going to talk today about Kell, Brook, Errol, Spence. I'm going to briefly address this so-called rumour that the fight is off, that Kell Brook is looking for a way out of it, and the same old narrative that we've been hearing for a long time. I saw a video from an American bloke called Barbershop Conversations. I'd never heard of him before, never seen any of his stuff before, so I don't know how credible he is normally. So yeah, no disrespect to you, mate. It's nothing personal, but I'm just going to address a couple of things that you said. First of all, you said that you spoke to someone in England, or you said you spoke to someone with an accent. So obviously we can deduce from that it was someone in England. As if that's definitely credible then. There are plenty of people in England who talk rubbish as well. Don't worry about that. You're saying you'll never reveal your sources, and very sort of vague, kind of not really anything that you have to stand behind particularly. So yeah, okay, I can understand that. You're saying you're not going to reveal your sources, fair enough. I'm sure you can also understand that it's very difficult to take that kind of thing seriously. Someone said, oh yeah, someone told me, can't tell you who, but it's just, well, what does that really mean? I had a look to see if there was anything coming from anyone else. Saw someone on Twitter ask Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn said no, absolute rubbish, no truth in it at all. So, nothing from Kell Brook, nothing that Eddie Hearn just literally responded to that question. So as far as I'm concerned, there's no case to answer there. I saw you made a second video and you're talking about dates. You were saying, oh, well, they're saying, look, the 20th now, they're going to try and say that it's to do with football, and, even though that can be worked around. Well, I'm assuming that, but when you say it actually works around, you don't mean that the football can work around it. I'm assuming you don't mean that, but just in case you do, or just in case anyone else thinks that, I'm going to clarify that. Right, you've got 4 divisions in football here. You've got the Premier League, just a league, you win it, that's that. You get relegated, but obviously you can't get promoted because it's the top league. Then you've got the Championship, League 1, League 2, which is basically 2, 3 and 4. Now from them, you get promoted, you get relegated. So for the teams getting promoted, the top 2 go up automatically. Then you've got the next 4 will play each other, or like 2 semi-finals effectively, playoffs. Now, Sheffield United is a good chance. Sheffield United is where Bramall Lane, this is the stadium where they want it to be at. So Sheffield United is, are potentially going to be in the playoffs. So they can't tell you now, the season finishes and then you have the playoffs. So they can't confirm 100% that the ground will be available then. So that's not a viable date. So obviously they're not going to just move around and reschedule their matches or put them somewhere else to accommodate a boxing match. That's just never going to happen. No. First of all, football is much bigger than boxing in England. Just in case anyone doesn't realise that, much bigger. It's a serious operation. You've got obviously, it's a big police operation. I don't know if you know much about the football culture over here, but it's a huge police operation. You can't just be rescheduling stuff because we want to have a boxing match there. It doesn't work like that. So I'm assuming you didn't mean that. I'm assuming what you meant was they can reschedule, or they can work around it, as in find another venue, which is possible, yeah. They could possibly do it at the O2. They could possibly do it at the MEN in Manchester. But first of all, that in itself isn't just oh yeah, we just do it here and that's that. Okay, fine. When do you want to do it? Saturday? Yeah, no problem. That itself involves planning, logistics, police. There are certain things you can't just do that whenever you want. And also, they don't want to do it there. They want to do it at Bramall Lane. That's obviously the first choice. Now, over here, the football culture is very, very, very tribal. Every boxer really is a football fan, and pretty much most people in England are football fan. Want to fight in their stadium. You got Tony Bellew fought at Goodison Park. Callum Smith wanted to fight at Anfield. There are countless examples of people wanting to do it. So Joe Kozaki fought well, as Millennium Stadium was the national stadium, but yeah, football stadiums, you want to fight there where your community is. So that's what the football is all about. At least it used to be, still is, but it used to be. Kell Brook is a Sheffield United fan. He's been going to Bramall Lane since he was a kid. I saw an interview with him saying his uncle took him there, and he basically said, when you're older, you're going to fight here. This has always been a dream of his, to fight at Bramall Lane. So that's what they want to do. That's, if there is any truth in what you're saying in terms of anyone with an ounce of credibility telling you there's some kind of problem, it's probably to do with that. I mean, for all I know, the person you're talking to is just some complete donut sitting in a pub talking rubbish. I mean, who knows? If you won't tell us, then we've got no idea. That's a possibility that that they're still working on. Well, it's not a possibility. That's what's going on. They're obviously still working on a venue. So to me, that's what it's all about. So this idea that like Kell was trying to put, it's just, why would he? I mean, why would he do that? If he was going to do that, he would have done it already. He had a perfect opportunity to do it. I've been through this enough times. So yeah, why would he? Because he's just so scared of Errol Spence. Because he's seen Errol Spence beat up, like knock out Chris Algieri, who's a 140-pound feather dusterman who couldn't break an egg with a baseball bat. He tried to go toe-to-toe with Errol Spence, got knocked out. You think that's going to put the fear of God into him? Or could it be when he sort of knocked out a 40-year-old midget, Leonard Bundu, whose best win, arguably, is a gift decision against Frankie Gavin? Do you know what I mean? So what? I understand that people like Errol Spence, they're fans of Errol Spence, they want to see him do well. They're excited about his potential because it could be very good. But if you just sort of step away from that, how you see it, and try and see it from someone else's perspective, what is there really for Kell Brook to fear from what he's seen? What I see a very good fighter with very good potential who could be very good. But when you're talking about, he's going to sort of pull out, give up his belt, make himself look ridiculous because Errol Spence has kind of, steamrolled a couple of, I would say bums, but, people who've had no chance of winning against him. Or he sort of beat up Mayweather in sparring once. I mean, big deal. Do you know what I mean? Like Chris Eubanks beat up Carl Froch in sparring once. It doesn't mean anything. We don't know what stage of Mayweather's camp he was in. We don't know how many rounds he'd spar. We don't know. Yeah, he might have done quite well against Mayweather in sparring. It wasn't a real fight. And Mayweather's, as good as Mayweather is, he's small. He's a small, older, not as solid fighter. I'm not saying that he's not as, of course I'm not saying that he's not better than Kell Brook. But you're talking about stylistically, he could go in there. Adrian Broner as well, it's another one. Is that like another thing that people are supposed to be really scared of? He sort of knocked down Adrian Broner. I mean, Adrian Broner, he was brilliant at lightweight when he was basically beating up people like Gavin Rees and Antonio DeMarco, people who are a lot smaller than him. But what's that got to do? How is that going to put the fear of God into Kell Brook, really? So Kell Brook's going to have this fight in Sheffield, at Bramall Lane. He's got all this he still needs to prove himself as well, really, to a certain extent. Yeah, he's proven that he's a good fighter, but he still needs to prove himself in terms of being like the best welterweight and being like a top level fighter. So he's got a lot to prove. So why would he do that? You know what I mean? So yeah, I just wanted to say that, really. I just wanted to, people will get carried away. Maybe a lot of people are kind of hoping that Kell Brook pulled out. I don't know. Maybe it's starting to dawn on some people that this isn't what we thought it was. This is a serious challenge. People get caught up in the hype. Like someone, I saw an interview. I saw like some comments. I saw some bloke talking about like Kell Brook sort of ducked Jessie, Vargas and Brandon Rios. I mean, if you believe that, then I suppose anything goes with you. I mean, you'll believe anything. If you believe that Kell Brook ducked Jessie Vargas to fight Golovkin, then what do you say to someone like that? Brandon Rios. I mean, I explained all this before about Brandon Rios and Jessie Vargas. What happened to them after? Jessie Vargas fought Manny Pacquiao after. Okay, they'd agreed the term. He was getting paid serious money to come over here, much more than ever been agreed before. And they were like, okay, no one else wants to come over here. No one particularly wants to fight us over there either. So yeah, okay, Jessie Vargas, we'll basically pay him over the odds. So it's a unification. He's got a belt, to be fair, so we'll pay him this money. Brexit happens. Now the pound goes down temporarily. Suddenly, all this money has been lost. Jessie Vargas is like, no, I still want the same. So basically, Kell, who's already earning very, very small amount of money, is now going to be fighting for pretty much nothing to fight Jessie Vargas. So he's like, do you know what? Fuck that. I'll just fight Golovkin. So if you think that is ducking Jessie Vargas, then I think we can take anything you say with a pinch of salt, really, in terms of your analysis of this fight. Brandon Rios was asking for ridiculous money to come over and fight, and I don't really blame him, because he then went on to fight Tim Bradley in America in his next fight, an in-house fight instead of Kell Brook. So he's making demands, wanting silly money. Does anyone seriously think that Brandon Rios would have beaten Kell Brook? I mean, yeah, he's tough, and yeah, he would have hung on in there for like however many rounds, and in the end, the ref would have just said, "All right, mate, that's enough. That's enough brain damage for one evening." Now, that's what would have happened. Everyone knows that. So when you're putting out this narrative of like all these, oh, well, he ducked Vargas and Rios. So yeah, if you believe that, then I suppose you'll believe that if he did, then obviously Errol Spence is much more formidable than those two. So yeah, I suppose it makes sense in your reality. Another thing, quickly, I want to mention as well, I've sort of gone over this a little bit, but people are saying, oh yeah, look at all these people that have been around since Kell Brook has been a welterweight. Look at all these people that he could have fought, naming out a list of, all these like big names who've been in the welterweight division. Yeah, that's true. But what all of them have in common? All these people, they're all in America. So what that basically comes down to is Kell Brook was fighting in Britain and not in America. And in Britain, welterweight, it's not really a big scene really in Britain. I mean, there aren't that many good welterweights. There's basically Kell Brook, Amir Khan. Amir Khan's based in America. You've got a few other so yeah, you could say, oh, Kell Brook didn't go to America. Okay, fine. He didn't. I've kind of gone through this before. He's quite sort of, he didn't really take his career that seriously until quite late on, really, in his career. So he's kind of coasting for a while. But when you say he hasn't fought all of these people, it gives a false impression. It would be a lot more valid if Kell Brook had been based in America. And you think, well, hold on, why hasn't he fought all these people? Because how many of these people came to Britain? He wasn't a champion at this time. He was just someone fighting. Same with like Deontay Wilder. I mean, Deontay Wilder fought absolutely nobody. And he's been in America all this time, where there is nobody really credible for him to fight. So, yeah, it is what it is. I just wanted to sort of make that point, and it gave me an opportunity to address a couple of the other points. So yeah, don't worry, the fight is going to happen, or do worry if you don't want it to happen, because it will, and it's going to be a very, very, very good fight. I haven't made I made my prediction video yet. I'll do that a bit later on. Obviously, I'll go in with Kell Brook. There are too many unknowns going into this one for me to be 100% certain on who I think is going to win. I think I do favour Kell Brook, but they both have lots of advantages and disadvantages in this fight, in my opinion, and unknowns. So, but yeah, it's going to be a very good fight. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say about it. Really, I just wanted to give my take on that and explain the situation with Bramall Lane and the venues, before people get carried away and start, putting 2 and 2 together and making 438. So yeah, That's all I wanted to say. Let me know what you lot think about this. Thank you very much for watching.